Okay, I'm now at the ceremony, and I have my iPad, which is one of the number of reasons why it makes it so efficient to use an iPad. Um, I'm standing there. I have a quick. I go to the couples. I'm just bringing them up now. I go to the couples page, and I open it up. Marlena and Therese and Tammy. Um, One I can see their names, etc. I also scroll down and I check out their ID so I know who they are, what they look like. Fantastic. Now I know the NIM's already good because I've already done that, and I will also have a look and see if they have let any notes or following on from my conversation with me, they've actually written me a love story, which I'm going to deliver for it. So that's all the background. But what it means is I then go in and I go into Lifelinks and I actually pull up their details in Lifelinks. And there we go. Go in there, into Lifelinks, and I pop in there. Oh, sorry. Oops, so daisy. There, I've got them there. And so I just go in and I go into view. Because what I want to do is make sure that all the details are 100% correct. Witnesses changed, address changed, anything like that. And then I actually ask them just to scroll through. So it only takes them a minute. They just scroll through. They confirm all the details are 100% correct, including their witnesses. And I go, that's fantastic. I then, while I'm saving that and preparing the PDF of those documents, I ask them, run through with them the declaration of no legal impediment, remembering to ask them separately about being forced to be married. And then I just jump back in to, I then jump back in and I go select the account or the client, press print, and I then select declaration and official marriage certificate and I go print. What that's going to do, it's going to bring it up on the screen like that, and I hit save and then I hit open. What that's going to do, it's going to open that form on my screen, and then you can see the form. It's got all the correct details because this is the exact details that they've just checked. And then I open it in Adobe Reader. Once it's open in Adobe Reader, import it in there, they can then see it. I actually have a scribe for them, and I actually get them to then, on my iPad, I get them to sign the declaration of no legal impediment. So this is all before the ceremony. Oops, Daisy. And also, very importantly, I also get them to double check their details here again and sign up here next to their name. Now, I don't use DocuSign. I just use the drawer. And so I get them to sign or initial next to their names. Now, what that means is in the future, if there's ever an issue with their parents' names or their address or their names, and they come back, we go, well, look, we asked you to check them, we've checked it, and unfortunately, that's what it is. Or if they say, oh, look, we told you the witness had changed, and you go, no, you didn't, because they're the details that you provide us with, and sign. It just saves any arguments down the track. But that's all done. So that's all ready to go. I just put that down, close the top to save the battery, and do the ceremony. Following the ceremony, I then get them and their witnesses to sign. Oops, so daisy. To sign, obviously, where they would normally sign. Beautiful. At that point, I then pull out the Form 15, which I've printed out, and get them to sign that. I've got all my documents signed now. I hand them the Form 15, wish them luck with life, and they're all done. At that point, I then jump in here while that's still open, and I normally just do it with my finger, and I just go in and I obviously sign the declaration, and I put in the location that the ceremony happened and also the date. So that means that whole form is completely filled out and correct. All I do now is I go into save and I save a copy of that PDF, and I actually save it to the directory that I've set up with my notice of intent of marriage in it that I saved already. I go in there, and there you go. The date will pop up. You can see the date there, the 25/12/06. I go in there, and I can see my NIM is already in there, and I'm just going to save those documents straight to there. I use the same idea. So at the front of it, I put in 10 o'clock in the morning, so 1000, and that means when I search it, it's going to come up right next to the NIM, and I hit save. That's it. I don't need to print anything. I don't need to save anything else. That's all done. Generally, I'll do that while I'm standing at the ceremony or about to leave the ceremony. So I know that's all locked away, all saved to the cloud. I'm using Google Drive, but you could use whatever. Then the easy thing, or even not before you get home, if you're standing there and you're waiting for something, or I don't know, you're having a cigarette out the back, I then just jump into Lifelinks, and straight away I can go in. I go back into Lifelinks, and a daisy, go back into drafts, because that's where it is. I go into drafts here. Beautiful. Go to the 6th, which is tomorrow. There we go. And on my iPad, I open up View. That's going to open up the documents there. And I go Add Documents, hit Go, and it asks me where the documents are. I tell it to go into my Google Drive. I open my Google Drive, and there I will see, just going to my Google Drive. And there I will see the two files that I need. One is the Notice of Intent of Marriage file. The other one is the Declaration of No Legal Impediment, and also the marriage certificate. I click both of those, and the little iPad will spin for a little while, and there it goes. It goes confirm. So I hit confirm, and I tell it what I've put in there. So I've put in the com and the deck. Oh, there we go. Com and the deck. I've got that in there. And then I hit save. And then I go in and hit submit. That's done. Generally, quite often, I can do that while I'm leaving the ceremony. So the whole thing is done before I get home. That number, once it's registered, I then take the registration number and pop that into Bubble and send them the email. Quite often I have to wait to send them the email, because it's a bit awkward if I send them that email saying, hi, congratulations again, blah, 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 and I'm still standing in the room with them. But I take that number, I put it in. I will quite often even order the marriage certificate straight on my iPad while I'm sitting there. I don't know if that's the best way to do it. That's the way I do it, and I find that works pretty well, particularly if I've got more than one, and it doesn't take any time. As I showed you, it takes 4 minutes tops to prepare the paperwork before the ceremony on the day. Then it probably takes 3 or 4 minutes that I spend with them while I'm running through the Declaration of No Legal Impediment, asking them about the rings, asking them about their vows, who's going to hold the rings, all that sort of stuff. While I'm doing that, I've got them to also check everything that's e-registry. I've prepared that form in a PDF so they can sign it. I know it's 100% correct because they've checked it again, and that's it. And so I get home and I have a glass of water. I hope that helps. But sincerely, if you can think of a better way to do it or a more efficient way to do it, please let me know, and we'll update it, because I don't want to spend any more time than I have to doing the boring paperwork stuff. But I do need to know that it's done, and it's done correctly, and it is done efficiently. But if you've got any ideas, let me know. Cheers.